Look at the backs of your legs right now, those blue-purple ropes pushing against the skin of your calves, your thighs, sometimes all the way up behind your knee. You have had them for years, maybe since your second pregnancy. Maybe they appeared slowly, one season at a time, until you realized one summer that you had stopped wearing shorts entirely. You were told it is genetic. You were told it is the price of standing on your feet all day. You were told the only real fix is a procedure, sclerotherapy, laser ablation, surgical stripping. Expensive, invasive, and for many people temporary, because nobody explained to you why they come back. I am going to explain exactly what is happening inside that vein, why the blood is pooling there, what specific structural failure is driving this. And then I am going to give you a 5-minute evening ritual, free, non-invasive, repeatable every night that addresses the actual mechanical cause, not the surface appearance. Here is what most evenings look like for you. You have been on your feet or sitting with your legs hanging down for 12-14 hours. By evening, the legs feel heavy. Not quite painful, but tired in a way that does not go away with sitting. You press a finger lightly against that twisted vein, and it feels warm, slightly tender. You put your feet up on the couch cushion and feel momentary relief. Then you stand up in the morning and the heaviness is back, waiting for you. Your doctor looked at your legs, said, classic varicose veins, mentioned a referral to a vascular surgeon, and moved on. What your doctor almost certainly did not explain, because there is no billing code for a 5-minute conversation about fluid physics, is the precise mechanism creating those veins. And without understanding the mechanism, you cannot fix the problem. You can only manage the appearance. Subscribe to Dr. Laura Chen and hit the like button right now. This channel runs on one principle. The system makes money when you stay sick, not when you get well. That is economics, not malice. What comes next? Nobody is going to volunteer at your next appointment. Here is the false belief I need to demolish first. Most people believe varicose veins are a wall problem, a weakness in the vein wall itself. The vein stretches, balloons outward, becomes visible under the skin. Fix the wall, fix the vein. This is why the standard medical conversation goes directly to procedures: close the vein, strip the vein, inject a chemical that scars it shut, remove the visible problem. That is wrong, or more precisely, it is incomplete in a way that guarantees recurrence. The wall is not where this starts. The wall is where it ends up. Let me show you what is actually happening. Inside every vein in your body, and this matters most in the veins of your legs, because your legs spend most of the day fighting gravity, there are tiny one-way doors, valves. Small folds of tissue, each no larger than a fingernail, positioned at regular intervals along the inside of the vein wall. Their job is singular and essential. They open to let blood move upward toward the heart, then they snap shut to prevent that blood from sliding back down. Think of them as a staircase where every step has a trapdoor. Blood climbs one step, the trapdoor closes behind it. Climbs the next step, another trapdoor closes. The only direction of travel is up. Now imagine those trapdoors start to stick. The hinges stiffen. The flaps no longer close completely. Blood climbs a step, but the trapdoor behind it only closes halfway. Some blood slides back down. The blood below it, which was already waiting, now has to carry extra volume. It pools. The pressure in that section of vein rises. And under sustained pressure, the vein wall, which is living tissue, not rigid pipe, does the only thing living tissue under pressure can do. It expands. That is a varicose vein, not a wall that failed first, a valve that failed first, and a wall that gave way under accumulated pressure. This distinction is everything, because if the valve is the origin, the question becomes, what weakens the valves? And the answer to that question points directly toward what you can actually do tonight, at home, without a procedure. Before I go further, I need to say this clearly. There are signs that mean you stop this video and speak to a vascular specialist immediately. If your leg is significantly swollen on one side only, and that swelling appeared suddenly, within hours or days, that may indicate a deep vein thrombosis, a clot in the deep vein system. This is a medical emergency. Do not wait. If your varicose veins are accompanied by a skin ulcer near the ankle, an open sore that will not heal, that is advanced venous insufficiency requiring clinical management. If you press on the vein and feel a hard, painful cord under the skin with redness above it, that is superficial thrombophlebitis, a clot in the surface vein, and it needs evaluation today. If none of those apply, continue. You are dealing with a mechanical, gravitational, and nutritional problem that has a real protocol behind it. So what weakens venous valves? 3 things, specifically. First, sustained gravitational load. For every hour you stand or sit with your legs below the level of your heart, blood pressure inside your lower leg veins rises. Not dramatically, not painfully, quietly. Over years, that sustained pressure fatigues the valve leaflets. They become less elastic, they stop snapping shut completely. This is why varicose veins are dramatically more common in nurses, teachers, retail workers, and surgeons than in people who alternate their position throughout the day. It is not the standing itself. It is the uninterrupted column of blood pressing downward on those valves for hours without relief. Second, connective tissue weakening after 40. The valve leaflets are made of collagen. The vein wall is made of collagen. After 40 and accelerating past 60, collagen synthesis slows. The raw material your body uses to maintain those valves is produced in smaller quantities each decade. The leaflets become thinner, less resilient, less capable of returning to full closure after each heartbeat. This is not inevitable, but it is invisible, and almost nobody addresses it nutritionally. Third, chronic elevation of pressure from above. Constipation, chronic cough, excess abdominal weight, anything that raises pressure inside the abdominal cavity transmits that pressure downward into the veins of the legs. Every straining episode, every sustained cough sends a pulse of elevated pressure traveling downward. Over years, those repeated pulses teach the valves to remain slightly open. Margaret was 64 when she walked into my practice carrying a manila folder with a surgical quote inside it. She had spent the previous year researching sclerotherapy and laser ablation. She knew the recovery time, the cost, the complication rates. She had prepared thoroughly and was coming to me, she said, for a second opinion before the procedure. I asked her to set the folder down and tell me about her days. She worked part-time at a library, on her feet for 5 or 6 hours, 3 days a week. By evening, her legs were heavy. Her ankles were slightly swollen. Her socks left marks. Then I asked her something her previous doctors had not. When do you go to the bathroom? She looked at me as if I had changed the subject. She said she had been constipated for years, managed it with fiber supplements, but she strained several times a week. Margaret, I told her, your veins have a valve problem, not a wall problem. The wall problem will come back after any procedure if we don't address what is weakening the valves. I would like to try a protocol with you for 8 weeks before you make a surgical decision. She agreed, skeptically. 8 weeks later, she had not had the procedure. Her legs had changed enough, the heaviness completely gone, 2 of the smaller surface veins visibly faded, that she wanted to continue before committing to surgery. That was her decision, arrived at because her symptoms had changed, not because anyone pressured her. I am not telling you surgery is never appropriate. For large, severely symptomatic veins, procedures have a real and legitimate role. I am telling you that for most people with early to moderate varicose veins, the mechanical cause is never addressed, and that is why the veins recur. Let me tell you what most people over 60 are doing that accelerates valve damage. First, sitting with legs crossed or bent tightly at the knee for long periods. This compresses the popliteal vein, the large vein behind the knee, and creates a partial blockage in the venous return channel. Blood pools below it, pressure rises. 30 minutes while reading is not the issue. 4 hours every evening is. Second, hot baths and long hot showers in the evening. Heat causes veins to dilate. Dilated veins cannot hold valve closure properly. A hot bath is relaxing for muscles, but for vein walls and valve leaflets, prolonged heat is a structural challenge. Finish with 30 seconds of cool water on the legs, not ice-cold cool. This causes the vein to contract and the valves to return to their resting closed position. Third, low intake of dietary flavonoids. Flavonoids are plant compounds that directly support vein wall and valve tissue integrity. The specific ones that matter here, rutin, hesperidin, diosmin, are found in buckwheat, the white pith of citrus fruits, and dark sour cherries. Most people over 60 eat almost none of these consistently. This is a slow, invisible deficiency with a visible consequence on the backs of the legs. 3 foods that directly support venous valve integrity. First, buckwheat. Not bread made from buckwheat flour, but actual whole cooked buckwheat. A 100 gram portion contains more rutin than almost any other accessible food. Rutin strengthens the collagen matrix of the vein wall and reduces capillary fragility. Multiple clinical trials have shown it reduces leg heaviness and swelling in chronic venous insufficiency. 2 to 3 servings per week. This is not a supplement. This is a grain that costs less than rice. Second, the white pith of citrus. When you peel an orange and eat only the segments, you discard the layer where hesperidin and diosmin are concentrated. Diosmin is the active compound in prescription venous medications used in France and across Europe. Clinical evidence supports its role in vein wall support at pharmacological doses, but consistent food-based intake builds the same compound pool over time. Eat the whole segment, include the pith. It takes no extra effort. Third, tart cherry frozen sour cherries or tart cherry concentrate. Research published in multiple phlebology journals shows that anthocyanins, the dark pigments in sour cherries, reduce inflammation in vein walls and support valve tissue collagen integrity. 2 tablespoons of concentrate in water in the evening, or a handful of frozen sour cherries over oatmeal in the morning. Here is the protocol. 3 parts. Morning, daytime, evening. 5 minutes of active effort. The rest happens while you are already resting. Morning 60 seconds. Before your first coffee, stand barefoot on a hard floor, feet shoulder-width apart. Rise fully onto your toes, then lower your heels back down with a firm, controlled contact. 30 repetitions. 1 per second, 30 seconds. The soleus, the deep calf muscle, is the most powerful venous pump in the body. When it contracts, it squeezes the deep veins and drives blood upward against gravity. After a night of lying still, that pump needs a starting signal. These heel drops provide it. They activate the pump before gravity gets its first move of the day. Daytime 1 behavioral rule. Anytime you sit for more than 30 consecutive minutes, do 10 ankle circles each direction, then 10 slow calf raises from your seat, 45 seconds. Set a reminder, this is not exercise. This is keeping the pump running so blood does not pool against the valves for hours at a time. Evening, 15 to 20 minutes. This is the most important part. 1 hour before bed, while you are reading or watching something, lie on your back and elevate your legs. Against the wall, over the couch back, on 2 firm pillows. 1 requirement, your heels must be higher than your heart. A 4-5-degree angle is sufficient. You do not need to go fully vertical. Hold this position for 15 to 20 minutes. What happens? You reverse the gravitational load that your venous valves have been fighting all day. Blood and tissue fluid that pooled in your calves and ankles during the day now flows back toward your body's center by gravity alone, without valve effort. You are draining the reservoir deliberately while you are awake, so it does not drain at 2 a.m. After the elevation, stand up slowly and go to the bathroom. You will urinate more than expected, that is correct. The fluid from your legs is now circulating through your kidneys. You emptied the reservoir on your schedule. Finish with 30 seconds of cool water on both legs in the shower. Feel the veins contract. This is passive valve closure. The cold tightens the vein wall and brings the leaflets closer together, restoring some of the tone lost during the day. Margaret started with the evening elevation and the morning heel drops. First week, the heaviness was gone by morning. By week 3, no sock marks on her ankles. At week 8, 2 smaller surface veins on her left calf had faded enough that she had to look closely to find them. The 2 largest veins were still present but no longer tender and no longer prominent enough to change what she wore. She did not have the procedure. The last time I saw her, she had not revisited the decision. Here is what you do tonight. 5 steps. all doable in the next 2 hours. Step 1. When you take your shoes off this evening, do 30 heel drops immediately. Feet bare, firm floor. Step 2. Look at tonight's dinner. If it includes cured meat, hard cheese, or a heavily salted dish, reduce or replace it. Vein wall inflammation is fed by hidden sodium. Step 3. 1 hour before bed, elevate your legs for 15 minutes. Couch back, wall, or pillows. Heels above heart. Step 4. Finish with 30 seconds of cool water on both legs in the shower. Step 5. Tomorrow, add buckwheat to your rotation, 2 to 3 times per week. That is your root source. That is the food that starts rebuilding what the valves are made of. Photograph the backs of your legs today. Compare in 8 weeks. Venous valves rebuild slowly. Collagen synthesis is not fast. Give this protocol 3 months of consistent daily practice before you evaluate results. And understand, gravity operates on your body every second you are upright. This is not a 30-day challenge you complete and forget. This is daily maintenance for a system that is fighting physics. How old are you? Write it in the comments right now. Venous valve competence declines measurably after 50 and accelerates past 60. The age distribution of this audience shapes what I cover next, because what you need at 58 is different from what you need at 72. The veins on the backs of your legs are not a cosmetic problem waiting for a surgeon. They are a message from a valve that has been fighting gravity alone for years without support. Give it support. Give it 15 minutes every evening. Give the collagen the building blocks it needs. Subscribe, hit like, and send this to someone whose legs you have noticed changing. You may have just saved them a very expensive procedure.